Hello there, welcome back. Right, as you can see, the title is slightly misleading. There is some ZX Spectrum related pickup stuff in this video, but there's some other bits and pieces I got in town, which, don't worry, I'm still going to be always collecting for the specky, but I saw a couple of bits. I was just having a mooch around town earlier with my missus, and I happened to walk past CEX and look in their window, and they had a couple of bits that caught my eye. Now, I've never really bought any hardware from them, but I'll go through and show you what I got. If you, one of my friends on Facebook, you'll know already, because I have posted gloaty pictures of them. But anyway, start off with today, arrived in the post, these 3 issues of Crash magazine. These were sent to me by Geoff Neil. Geoff, thank you ever so much. We had trouble with Royal Mail, didn't we? But they finally arrived, safe and sound, etc. I will do videos of each particular one. Really happy. If you don't know Geoff, he also has a YouTube channel. I will link to it in the description box below, so you can check it out. Really fantastic channel. But if you also are a watcher of or a subscriber to Paul Jenkinson's The Spectrum Show, then you will know Geoff very well. He often appears in the chat segments with Paul. So once again, thank you ever so much, Geoff. I'm incredibly grateful for your donations there to me, and I will cover them in depth each particular issue. Right, now, as I said, I was just having a sort of mooch through town with the wife. Now, I sometimes go in CEX, but, people post comments, various things, bits and pieces about, they do this, they're massively overpriced, etc. But it seemed that today, or recently, they'd had a delivery of some sort of like retro stock that caught my eye. In the window, there was some old Mega Drive games, some NES games, and an NES system, which I never ever owned. But they also had 4 or 5 of the Super Nintendo Minis. Now, I'd had my eye on that. I did have a Super Nintendo, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't ever interested in the NES Mini because I never knew the NES, so I didn't bother paying any attention to the Mini when that came out. But this one did sort of catch my eye, and it's got some decent... it's got some very good games on it, and I'll enjoy playing them later. Now, it doesn't have the games that I enjoyed the most on the Super Nintendo, which were Shadowrun and an American game my parents brought me back from, of all places, America, called Soul Blazer, which I don't see much talk about in any of the sort of retro groups. I'm not a huge fan of the Zelda style games, but Soul Blazer I really enjoyed, and I couldn't even begin to tell you how much time I sunk into Shadowrun. So I'm looking forward to having a go at this. It's all very well sort of packaged, etc. Everything's in there, all the bits and pieces are in there, and nothing's missing. So I'm looking forward to it. I really did enjoy my Super Nintendo when I had it. I had quite a decent selection of games for it as well. Off the top of my head were those 2 that I've already mentioned. I had things, that everyone had, like the Super Mario World, which actually sort of came with it, Super Soccer, Super Tennis, which I really loved as well. And now I've forced myself on the spot to think of some others. I actually can't. So that was that. Now, the next one was another console that I did own. Now, I've owned most consoles through the ages, with the exception of the NES, like I said. The Sega Mega Drive, I did have a Master System. My brother had a Mega Drive. I never owned a Saturn, had Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube. What was the other one? The Wii. I've not had the Wii U, and I haven't got a Switch. I've owned things like the Atari Jaguar and the 3DO, but me being me, when I sort of like moved out of the flat that I was in before I got married and sort of moved into a house, I wasn't playing them anymore, so I just chucked them away. What an absolute dickhead for doing that. But one of the other things that they had was a Nintendo 64. And I thought, I ummed and ahed, and I ummed and ahed again, and then I ummed and ahed a bit more, and then I thought, fuck it, I'm going to buy that, because I did really have a great time with the N64. I think the first game I ever bought for it might have been Shadows of the Empire, or one of the racing games. What was the other one? It wasn't Mario Kart. The other one that was the Donkey Kong Racing, which I thought was really, really good fun. And they'd had 2 of these in there, and I got a controller with it. The N64 controller was revolutionary at the time. Now, I find them sort of like nowadays, I'm just wondering whether or not that might be a bit sort of unwieldy, so I'm interested to sort of try that out. The power brick and the antenna lead for the TV. I have got a TV that will accept one of those. Doesn't have the expansion pack thing, so I'm going to have to get one of those at some point if I want to play some of the other games. Now, there was a good selection of Nintendo 64 games in there, and some of them, you know, the price of the carts were a bit steep, and I didn't want them enough that you know, I had to sort of buy everyone there, so I just bought 4 to be starting with. I never played either of these back in the day, so I've got Mario Tennis and oh, he don't want to stay there, does he? And Mario Golf. I don't know what either of those are like, so please, people, shout out about that. I got F-Zero X. I've never played that before. I think the only time I played the original F-Zero, the Super Nintendo, which is actually... Is it on the SNES Mini? Yes, it is. I think the only time I've ever actually played that was if you ever travelled with Virgin Airlines in like the 90s. They had the kind of inbuilt SNES things in the back of the seats, and that was the only time I ever played an F-Zero game. And of course I had to get, when I saw that one, GoldenEye, because I sunk so much time into that as a young man. I wasn't a kid anymore. As a young man, I liked Perfect Dark even more, although we did download a sort of remake of it, remake or remaster, from Xbox Live for the 360, and I had to say that it hadn't aged particularly well, I don't think, but if I can pick that up at any point, I will. There were some more carts. They didn't have a spare controller, but, you know, it was just nice to sort of like be mooching around and something catch my eye, because nothing had ever caught my eye like that as whenever I'd gone past a shop. And when I'm in town, I do sometimes look in charity shops, etc., hoping to find like Spectrum stuff. But I never seem to have any luck in that regards. Other people seem to manage to find loads of specky stuff in charity shops, but it's never happened to me. That particular cherry's never fallen from that tree for Baz. So I was really, really happy to come across these. Now, I am, of course, going to do videos and gameplay videos, etc. But my plan is not to move away from Spectrum-specific content, because that is what my love is. It's what I can speak about with some level of knowledge. Obviously, I don't know everything about it. I'm not a huge expert, but I can speak from experience, etc. So I don't want to oversaturate the channel with videos relating to other systems, because most of the people that subscribe to me obviously will be subscribing just for Spectrum stuff, and if they start seeing that that's becoming less and less and less and less and less, then they're just going to not be interested. But I was interested in sort of picking the stuff. I've got so much Spectrum stuff to do, you know, that's going to take the majority of the well, the lion's share of future videos on the channel are going to be remain Spectrum related. You know, I'm not having any massive plans to diversify into retro gaming as a whole. If opportunities do come up to get other systems like Commodore 64, BBC, Amstrad, etc., I may take them, I may not, I don't know, which will mean I will have to rethink or revisit a sort of discussion I had with myself a while ago, in order to keep things from being diluted too much. Maybe open a second channel and I can put all the other stuff there. But let me know what you think. Particularly let me know what you think of the SNES Mini. if you have one, are you enjoying it? Especially if you have a NES Mini as well. You know, what do you think of that in comparison? Your memories of the Nintendo 64, and of course your memories of Crash Magazine with its, as ever, always fantastic artwork by Oliver Frey. Now, yeah, I really was happy with that little lot, because I did sink a lot of time into the N64. But like I said, sort of... Oh, Pokemon Snap, that was another one. For some bizarre... Well, I bought it for my son when he was only a boy. He was only about 5. He's 24 now, so a long time ago. And I was sitting there watching him playing. It looked really relaxing. And so I ended up playing it. I couldn't stand Pokemon. He used to watch it on the telly all the time. He used to bore me with the cards and stuff. And the films. Oh, my God. But the Pokemon Snap was really quite good fun. Like wandering around trying to take pictures of every Pokemon in sort of like the Pokemon Safari Park. But that's this video over. I am happy with what I've picked up. If you like the video, please let me know. If you wish to subscribe, please do so. But as ever, if you are going to subscribe, please make sure you take the time to join in with the discussions. If you wish to share your memories as well, that's what it's all about. Thank you ever so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.